I've lived in communities where it was all social housing. So when there was estates where there's all social housing, there's a different kind of community feel, and obviously everyone's kind of in similar situations. So um, I didn't really find that stigma was such a prominent issue then. But as I've moved around and like onto more mixed estates where there's private tenure or people, um, it's really apparent there's like an othering kind of this. It's like this British obsession with home ownership, and kind of if you're not on that, if that's not your aspiration, you are, I don't know. I sometimes feel like people think there's something wrong with us because I don't want to buy a house. Um, but it's also like people just assuming that you're absolutely down and out and no hope there. And I'll be honest with you, if it, like I've moved to different areas in social housing, and it's sometimes it feels as though that you should feel lucky that you've got a roof over your head. Um, you know, social housing is just for people who are absolutely desperate, and therefore, how dare you want any repairs done, or to think that you're going to be anything but just a social housing tenant. And yeah, and so I've raised my children through that as well. And it's like it's affected our lives in loads of different ways. People aren't usually like direct with the stigma, like, oh, I think this of you because you live in social housing. It's like it's quite covert sometimes. It's just I think people make assumptions, and the judgments they make are different than if you weren't living in social housing. Um, I've got really academic older children who are now at the age of going to university, and I can tell you now that I don't think it was ever expected that that would be the case, because we live in social housing, we live in a council house, and we don't have aspirations. We're all just get the free houses and sit around doing nothing. Operatives have given me the impression in the past that they are under the impression that social housing tenants get their houses for free, and that we shouldn't be expecting to get decent repairs, um, or to have nice high, to have nice homes. Um, and I do have quite a problem with that, because I love my home and I make it very lovely. And I now work for my landlord, and I just say I really do love the job. I enjoy the job, and I get satisfaction that I can be in some way like steering a bit of the culture. To me, like, I just feel like housing should be a fundamental human right. Look, we all need to have a roof over our head. And for me personally, having that solid foundation at the bottom is a springboard for everything else. And I think I'd love it if everyone was able to have access to homes. And for me, like, social housing would be the answer to that. I mean, I know my children have felt embarrassed about bringing friends home to our social house. I do think it has impacted on their education at times, although I don't think anyone would ever admit to it being an issue. I think it has impacted them.